Don't waste your time learning how to write songs. There's these really cool apps. You can tell it exactly what you want the song to sound like, and it just spits it out for you. Why bother build a following? I mean, you could just fake it. You can use bots, or you can like pay for ads and things like that, and then never admit that you're paying for ads. Why bother playing an instrument? You could just get up on stage and just like play the tracks. Oh my, you guys, things are getting a little bit crazy. So let's go ahead and unravel this really, really quickly. One, don't learn to write songs. The idea being that there are apps like Sono AI that you can bark commands into it and it's going to write a piece of music for you just as you ask, right? Now, some people think it's crap, but I have heard stuff and I'm just like, wow, it actually is pretty scary. And here's the concern. Let's look at what other people are saying. Let's go over to the forums. Roundabout says, I make a living through sync licensing and I'm worried about the future income-wise. So for those of you guys that don't know what sync licensing is, essentially what it is a television show or a production company or something might be putting something together and they have a scene where it's raining out, everyone's standing around in the dark with their umbrellas in the cemetery under the tree and grandma just died and they need the perfect piece of music that's going to emotionally capture that, right? So they put out a request and then songwriters, musicians actually send in the material and the best person wins. But if the production company can just really easily bark commands into something like Sono AI and get this piece of music, then it might put some people out of business, right? But my idea is this: don't you still need the expert to decide which piece of music should go into that scene? In other words, is Martha, the secretary, now able to do that? Like, no, right? So there might be some changes and adaptations to the way things have worked, but we have to grow and change with it because the reality is AI is here. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next thing, which is don't build a real fan base. And of course, again, I'm only joking when I say this, but the truth is really it all can be faked to some extent, right? I mean, we all know about people that go out and buy bots and get hundreds of thousands of followers that way, or there's people that actually pay legitimately for advertising, but then say that it's organic growth when really they spent a lot of money to build that growth, right? Then there's also people that actually start their own accounts and comment on their own posts, right? There was a story about someone that actually started 100 different Gmail accounts and started 100 different YouTube channels and would just comment on his own stuff to make it look like there's engagement going on, right? Of course, you can also hire people to do that for you as well. In fact, a lot of major label artists have teams of people that as soon as something comes out, they start commenting on it and engaging and sharing to make it look like it's real fandom, right? Now, all of this can actually get so darn frustrating to the DIY artist sitting at home that has no money. But the truth is that playing this kind of game is absolutely going to get you nowhere. Right? First of all, if you start playing around with the bots, you're just going to confuse the algorithm and it's going to be sending your stuff out to all these third world countries and it's not going to lead to anywhere. It's a dead end street, right? Also, you have to be careful with advertising as well. I mean, you really takes a skilled person to do it. And, it's not sustainable, right? To be pumping out all of this money into ads, just get people to watch your stuff, right? You want that to happen organically, right? So really, it really comes down to this, you guys. You have to it really comes down to the hard work, rolling up your sleeves and building that fan base and looking at the 2 or 3 or 10 or 100 people that you have and really nurturing them and making them feel like super fans so that they spread the word of mouth about you. And if you do that long enough and you build up something, people will take notice and then maybe they can come and you'll have a team of people that are helping you. But again, the idea of not building a real fan base obviously is a bad idea. All right, let's move on to the next thing, which is don't learn to play an instrument. The idea being because you could just use backing tracks, right? Well, backing tracks do come in handy for certain groups, and many groups use them sparingly. But let's go ahead and take a look at this perspective from the forum and see what Supercoop is saying. He's saying, one band I saw live used pre-recorded drum and keyboard tracks. I thought this was over the line mainly because they are replacing musicians. So are background tracks replacing musicians, right? I mean, think about it. I think it depends on the perspective, right? In other words, when you go to a Korean pop concert, you're not expecting to see like virtuoso drummers and keyboard players, right? What you're going there for is the cute girls dressed in their little fashionable outfits, like dancing around with amazing light shows and engagement with the audience. That's why you're pretty much going to that show. Now, are there going to be people that go to a show to see an amazing drummer, an amazing keyboard player, and a virtuosic guitar player? Yes. There's always going to be that need, someone that wants to go to see that. So I wouldn't worry about like AI or technology or background tracks replacing musicians, because again, it all depends on the perspective. All right, so now let's move on to the last one, which is don't go to the gym. Again, the idea being is that you can just use apps to make you more beautiful, right? There's apps that can make your face look less wrinkly. There's apps that can make your waist a lot thinner. So why go to the gym and spend all that time when you can just use apps? Of course, I'm joking again. This is crazy, right, you guys? Because in the real world, people are going to want to eventually come out and see you play live, right? And they're going to be very, very disappointed when, you are going from a small size to a big size, or you're going to be a lot older looking than you are in all of your pictures. I mean, there has to be a little bit of authenticity, obviously, to really win over fans strong. And if you're just putting your fake image out all the time, you have to ask yourself, really, just what good are you doing to building a long-term sustainable career? Okay, I lied. There's one more thing I want to talk to you guys about, and that is don't play live. And of course, here I'm also joking because there's so many benefits to play live. But this is particularly for the people that think that you could just sit up in your room and make TikToks and eventually blow up and be a superstar. Now, it has happened, but here's some of the problems that you have to think about. So first of all, when you're young, you have to write music and write music and write music and play it and figure out your sound and style. And if you're going to put that stuff on the web to kind of start getting feedback, just keep in mind what goes on the web always stays on the web. When you're playing out and you're playing parties and house parties and you're playing, different events, you can do it under an alias and you can make all the mistakes and all the changes and try all the different personas you want to figure out who you are. And there's no record of it, essentially, right? Something to think about. Another thing to think about if you are going to take that TikTok, I'm going to blow up overnight kind of strategy, is if it does happen, you're going to be immediately thrust into the limelight and on tour and on stage, and you're going to bomb. You're not going to know how to do it. Trust me, it takes years to get good on stage and really be a true performer, right? So of course, there's benefits to getting out there and playing live. So what do you guys think about any of the things that I talked about today? Do you think AI is going to replace songwriters, for instance? Let me know in the comments section below, and please give me a like. Subscribe if you want more videos like this. My name is Bobby Borg, helping musicians turn their art into a more successful business. Peace, love, and see you later.